Lights are going up, snow is falling down. There's a feeling of goodwill around town. It could only mean one thing. McRib is here. People throwing parties, ugly sweaters everywhere. Stockings hung up by the chimney with care. It could only mean one thing. McRib is here.
At participating McDonald's for a limited time.
Audible's best of 2024 picks are here. Discover the year's top audiobooks, podcasts, and originals in all your favorite genres. From memoirs and sci-fi to mysteries and thrillers, Audible's curated list in every category is the best way to hear 2024's best in audio entertainment. Like a stunning new full-cast production of George Orwell's 1984. Heartfelt memoirs like Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson's Lovely One. The year's best fiction, like The Women by Kristen Hanna, and Percival Everett's brilliantly subversive James. Audible. There's more to imagine when you listen. Go to audible.com/imagine and discover all the year's best waiting for you.
You better not have no plans tonight.
Movie time and it's feeling right.
Looking for a love that lasts. You'll find it at Romancing the Podcast. Ooh, ooh, baby, you had me at hello. Ooh, I love you.
I know.
Ooh, ooh, baby, you're the wind beneath my wings. Ooh, ah, I'll have what she's having.
Recording
as well.
All right, hold up.
What? What just happened? Wow.
It's what I needed for this movie.
Paige just took what I can only call the biggest swig out of what looks like, I don't know, just a huge-ass bottle of wine.
It's Martinelli's sparkling blush with peach in it, I think. Apples and cherries.
Okay.
According to this label.
Okay.
It's what we needed today. Today was an exceptionally bad day. And then I had to watch this movie.
Paige, would you perchance even want to introduce ourselves?
No, okay, yeah, sure. Thanks for tuning into Romancing the Pod. You had us at hello or whatever. I'm Paige Wesley.
And I'm Todd Schlosser. And this week, I'm going to say Paige made us watch Pottersville. Paige, you can't have seen this movie before you made me watch it. So
I did not.
I'm assuming this is your first time with it. Seems I was right.
It was.
What did you think about it? I want to know everything right off the bat. Let's go. I have so many thoughts. I struggled not to yell all of them at Natalie while we drove back from Chattanooga, just because she didn't get the joy of watching this movie with me.
See, that's your bad, because I told you to go listen to Behind the Bastards episodes on Diddy, and that would have solved that problem for you. However...
Oof, yeah, that would have been better. You're right.
I had never seen this, but it gets requested in the Facebook group every year, 3 years running.
Yes, it does.
Is this a romantic movie? No. Is this a movie? No.
At all, really. People get together at the end of it, but you're like, I mean, I guess that's what's supposed to happen. They're both the only late 30-somethings in town that aren't fucking an animal.
Sure.
Well, that aren't a furry, I should say.
They, are not a part of the furry community.
The furmunity, yes. Yeah.
The furmunity.
Right.
Which this movie both represents furries accurately.
But also terribly.
And badly at the same time.
It's always a punchline. Like, it's always like,
always a
wouldn't
punchline.
this be the worst thing? Not really. Like, there's worse things.
There's way worse things. We should probably table this for when we get to the furries. Let's continue first thoughts.
Fine.
Okay. First of all, whoever made this movie, called in a bunch of favors from friends. That's the only way I can explain it, and that's what I found in Fun Facts. Secondly,
that person's name has to have been Ron Perlman, because he's one of the producers on this.
So was Michael Shannon.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So I'll explain in Fun Facts.
Oh, I gotta know. I didn't realize Shannon was a producer on it too.
Yes, he is.
Great.
Now, the people who made this movie, the writer and director, had what I can only describe as 40 minutes of story that they tried to stretch into 80 minutes of movie, and that didn't go well. But then there's also a myriad of acting choices going on in this film. First and foremost, it's excuse me, the Martinellis. You've got Michael Shannon. You've got Michael Shannon.
I don't think we've ever had a drunk Paige episode, so like I'm here for it. Not that you're drunk now, but I feel like we might get there.
Martinelli's is no alcohol. I'm just.
Oh, is it non-alcoholic?
No, it's just apple cider in a wine bottle.
That seems less fun, but I enjoyed the visual. It was hilarious to see.
Look, it's a lot of sugar, so we'll see.
Paige is going to be on a sugar high by the end of this episode.
That's what's up. I'm out of Diet Coke and my husband is out of town, and so I can't order him to go get more for me. Anyway, Michael Shannon, known for characters with angry outbursts, barely lifts an eyebrow in this movie. He's like, I'm going to play this man as emotionless as possible, despite him going through a painful affair and divorce.
Is it painful? He seems kind of fine. I mean, he's a little sad, I guess.
Yeah, but I think that's the performance, though, because I'm like, you'd be upset.
Oh.
That's your house and stuff.
You'd be real pissed if you were living at your store because your wife was cheating on you, more or less. Yeah, it's terrible. Christina Hendricks, you're terrible.
Oh, no, we love Joan. Anyway, on the flip side, on the other side of this movie, you have Thomas Lennon playing an American, playing an Australian badly, making the most choices, as many choices. Like, he clearly just binge watched the History Channel for weeks, or the Discovery Channel, I guess, to prepare for this role. And he's giving us 211%. And I love every second of it.
Yes.
I'm a Reno 911 fan.
Same.
I'm here for anything insane that he wants to do. But he doesn't really. And then you got Ian McShane and Ron Perlman just playing it straight like they're in any other movie, even though this movie is completely bonkers.
Paige, Ian McShane is just playing Al Swearingen if Al Swearingen was like a eternal being.
Yes.
And lived in the woods.
Correct. And for some reason called the main character Maynard, even Nard every time.
I wrote that in my notes. I was like, that's not how you say Maynard. I mean, I realized
Maynard.
You're just like overemphasizing it, but like, whatever, Al. You're a great actor. You can do what you want.
Whatever.
You definitely beat the shit out of Andy Samberg, so like, it's fine.
Right.
What movie is that? Shoot.
I don't, it's
Babe.
Hot Rod.
Babe.
Hot.
Babe, come on.
Dad, I'm going to get you better and then I'm going to beat you to death. I fucking love Hot Rod.
Hot Rod is an underrated Ian McShane vehicle, honestly. And I say it that way. I think that may have been one of the bigger movies he did earlier on in his like come up career where he like started doing bigger things. Actually, that's probably way after Deadwood.
It's way after Deadwood.
Yeah. I just hadn't seen him in movies. I came to Deadwood late. So I saw Ian McShane in that first and then saw Deadwood like years after that.
No. This is like the same time as Hot Rod. So like he had done Deadwood. He had a whole ass career. And then he was like, fuck it. Yeah, I'll do this shit. And then on top of all of that, you've got Judy Gold, who is...
Judy Greer. Oh.
Judy Greer, not Judy Gold. Sorry.
Love Judy Greer. Come on. If Judy Greer invites you over for a Jiffy Pop...
I know.
You go. You know what I'm saying?
You go.
You don't turn down a Jiffy Pop from Cheryl from Archer.
Well, she seems to be the only person that kind of understands what movie this is, which is basically a Hallmark Christmas movie, but they Control-Alt-Deleted Santa and put in Bigfoot. And like, that's what this movie is.
I mean, it is just It's a Wonderful Life, but also...
Except it's not at all.
Paige, the only reason it's not is because we have an awesome Jaws subplot. How have we not mentioned that this is just Jaws?
But that's plot A. This is Jaws with Bigfoot, for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
We even have a Quint.
I know.
And that Quint is Ian McShane. Come on.
Amazing. He even does the scratch on the side, the chalkboard thing. But
I badly wanted like a Bigfoot eating a child just because the guy Quint draws a child in the shark's mouth. He's like the best salesman in the world.
42 children go into the woods. 33 children come out. That's all I want. But no, here's what's wild to me, Todd, and this broke my fucking brain. It's named Pottersville because of It's a Wonderful Life.
Of course.
Obviously.
Of course.
They are clearly trying to do that kind of a thing where like he owns a general store and your house was eaten by Bigfoot and your house too. Like that.
Well, and the end of the movie is like, well, put our name in the book and give you money. You're not the devil, right? This is fine. But
You're
like,
not the devil. I saw Goody Proctor at the general store. Yes.
at your general store. Anyway, Paige, there are a lot of It's a Wonderful Life beats and moments as she takes another deep draw from the McCarlsberg or whatever, this non-alcoholic cider. Martinelli, whatever. That sparkling blush.
How would you not know what Martinelli's is?
Because I've been a man my entire life.
Yeah, but you were Mormon.
I don't think...
It's like the main non-alcoholic thing they serve at weddings when you don't drink.
I believe you, but you're drinking it like a wino that lost their job 5 days ago.
I did not,
Like-
thankfully.
Well, not you.
That would have been real booze.
That is a real booze kind of mood. I get it.
It would be like, this is pure whiskey. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Paige, I don't know if you were done with your first thoughts.
Well, okay, but they don't actually include any It's a Wonderful Life beats. They have references, but it doesn't quite hit. It's much more Jaws.
Oh, I'll say that they don't land really.
But they keep trying to steer it back towards It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, I don't think it really ever lands any of the beats.
Anything.
Like, God damn it, it tries. Like, and it's so funny to me. This movie, that it exists, is an insanity, and I'm here for it. I don't think anyone necessarily should watch it, but I did enjoy watching it because
There are times when I laugh out loud.
Yes, Paige. And that's really just because Tom Lennon is being the only good Lennon that's ever existed.
Yes.
And like, it's also one of those movies you're like, these are huge stars.
Yes.
What are they doing in this movie? So it is sort of amazing on that level too. And man, it's only 8 minutes. And if you're like folding laundry and you want to see Al Swearingen 2, where he is just an immortal god that lives in the woods and then gives bad advice, maybe? I don't know.
He's Tom Bombadil.
He is sort of Bombadilish. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But that's more or less this movie. But it really isn't like, this is one you could skip, is all I'm saying. Like, it's not like,
Yeah.
you don't have to watch it, guys. But no, it's worth the 80-minute cost of admission. Actually, I paid $3.99 to rent it tonight. Sorry, my watch just told me that it's too loud in my environment, in my soundproof room that only I am in. That's how much I'm yelling about this movie, and I apologize.
Is it because you feel like Amazon owes you like $1.67?
I do realize that maybe I reached that decibel rating because I was talking about the cost of it. Because I was about to say, I don't know that it's worth renting for $3.99.
No,
but if Netflix picked this up and you could watch it for free with your subscription or whatever,
For free? Sure.
definitely pop it on and just be like, man, I think Ron Perlman might actually be a furry, and he really thinks he's a wolf. Like, he does not want to be called anything else. Because it doesn't make sense, Paige. It just doesn't make sense if he's not a wolf. He says that like 9 times. And I'm like, and listen, I'm not a furry.
Sure.
So I don't know if what he's saying makes sense to the community, maybe is the right way to say that.
I mean, no, it made sense in the scene because he's clearly a wolf.
I mean, sure, yeah. I guess it's a matter of tail. Because you saw his face, and it does look a little squirrely.
No, Todd,
No.
what are you talking about?
I don't mean Ron Perlman himself, Paige.
Oh, yeah, under the mask, sure.
No, he looks like Hellboy to me. But
Well, yeah.
yeah, but like, anyway, I just think like the movie is very watchable, but it's not really worth paying $3.99 to watch. And I'm sorry I yelled about it so loud. My watch was like, hey, old man, calm down.
Hey, shh.
But I really do love so many of the Jaws beats because it is like Tom Lennon, who I am sure is probably the most fun on set.
Sure.
Just because he's probably improving so much and it's just a fun, silly time. Watch, and now like something's going to break that he's like this terrible monster on set. Who knows?
No, I have only heard good things.
And I have heard nothing. So yeah, I don't know. But
Yeah.
I do think people who are like known improvers like him, and honestly, the Reno 911 crew.
I love Reno 911, man.
All of those people, but Tom Lennon, especially in this movie, is probably just like hamming it up and having a good time. And that's why his scenes and everyone in his scenes are great, and they're funny and they're fun and they sort of land. And on the other hand of that, like the Michael Shannon stuff with Judy Greer even, and they're like,
Sure.
I think they're acting fine. but there's just not much to it because It's a Wonderful Life and it's not that interesting.
Right.
So like you're just begging for the B plot the whole time.
The whole time.
And it's worth watching it for the B plot, I'll tell you that.
But I mean, here's what I'll also say about the B plot. There's not enough of it to fill out a movie.
Because then it would be the A plot. And that is the rewrite of this movie. Don't call it Pottersville, call it Bigfoot Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, or like Slayfoot. I don't know. Make Santa Bigfoot. I don't know.
Slayfoot's a different thing, I think. I've seen enough Drag Race to know.
Oh my God, Slayfoot.
No, that was Slewfoot. It was Slewfoot. My bad. Sorry.
Oh man. No, I think at a certain point they run out of things to do other than to just let Tom Lennon off the leash, which again, love.
Yeah.
But at a certain point in my notes, I'm like, there's such a thing as too much improv. Because at a certain point, I'm like, we've been in the forest for 20 minutes and this movie is only 80 minutes and they're no closer to finding anything. They're just making fun of Tom Lennon, which again, love.
Love it. Yeah.
But I am watching a movie. And so I'm kind of like, what? And like, that's the brilliance for me of Reno 911 is that they know to hit the funniest beat and get out of there.
Yeah, they know to cut away.
They know to cut away, and they know that there's humor in cutting away. Like, Reno 911 is so fucking funny.
I know. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. Like,
and he's so funny in it.
I know.
I've been watching a marathon like the last couple days.
I should go back and watch them because like, and everyone in that show is so great.
Yes.
So like, and they even have whatever, man. It's just such a great show. But this isn't a great movie.
No. Yeah. I think of that as like, you know how Always Sunny is like a sitcom about the worst people?
Yes.
I think Reno 911 is if you were overhearing the worst and most incompetent police force. And that's my favorite part of it.
I was going to say it's like a show about incompetent but the best cops. Because like they can't like really fuck up anybody's day all that much because they can't.
Yeah.
They're just so incompetent.
Oh my God. There was a marathon on the other day and there was one that I had not seen and they're in the police cruiser and he's like, we're going to need a 1014 right now. Right now. And they're like, where are you? What is your location? Don't ask me no questions. I just need a 1014 right now. And then he lets go of the radio and it hangs. So you realize that the whole car is upside down somehow, somewhere. And then they just cut away. You never find out. It's just the funniest cold open.
Yeah.
And that's where like Tom Lennon truly shines because
yeah.
he commits 110%. And in that brief moment, you're like, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. And when they let him like go, also hilarious, especially if you are like me and you watch Bigfoot hunter trash shows on TV. Guilty. Guilty. It's very funny because he does a lot of things that they actually do. And it's very niche, that kind of funny.
Yeah.
But then you're like, so what's going to happen though? Because like plot wise, and that's where it starts to fall apart.
Well, and the whole thing is, you know what's going to happen. Like, you know who Bigfoot is because they tell you immediately, more or less. And then you know how It's a Wonderful Life ends. The only thing I thought he might get arrested, which he almost did, but didn't. But like, that was the only beat I thought we might get, but didn't. And I was thankful we didn't because then it kept the movie shorter.
Yeah. I mean, also, he would have had blackmail options for the sheriff. You know, work smarter, not harder.
I mean, but that's only if the sheriff chooses to be a squirrel, but he's a wolf.
He's a wolf.
And a wolf makes sense. And I think his constituency would vote for a wolf. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Or a coyote, since there seem to be a lot of those around. Let's talk about this actual movie.
Yeah, should we just maybe go through this movie scene by scene?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We open on some of the longest credits ever through snowy woods. And we are getting some information as we go.
Sure.
But the song they're using, and Todd, I feel like you must have noticed this too. They're playing a Christmas song. And one of the backing tracks from the Christmas song is an eighth of a beat off. And I know that sounds nitpicky and stupid.
No, that's almost probably the worst because it's like so close to being on, your brain would lose it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was driving me nuts. And I kept checking my other devices to see if something was going off. And that's what I was hearing in the background. But I had checked everything. Nothing was going off. And I was like, it is this song. And it's the keyboard, the piano is an eighth of a beat off. It drove me nearly insane. Anyway, what we see during this music fever dream is that their town is dying.
Yeah.
Everything is for sale or for rent. And he has the one basically remaining business on Main Street on the corner. It's a general store, but this is also where you see in the credits that he helped produce it.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I must have missed that one. But it is an hour and 24-minute movie. And if you pause it at the first line of dialogue, we're just over 2 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like 2 minutes of like driving to the general store, sort of in the snow.
Yeah.
Which like that's a lot of credits for an 84-minute movie or whatever. Like The Shining does a similar intro. But it's like,
but it's the fucking Shining.
Yeah, it's a way better movie, and like so, like it's also a helicopter shot.
Well, it's like 3 hours long.
I know,
and like
I know.
a helicopter shot.
I know, and the music is so good, like it works in The Shining. Like this isn't The Shining, is all I'm saying. And they took a full ass 2 minutes on it.
Full ass 2 minutes. We get to the general store.
Yeah.
And it's very cute. He shovels the entire sidewalk because why the hell not? We see that his family has owned this general store since 1928. And then we cut to like his first transaction of the day, and a lady is in shopping and she's like, I can't pay for this. Can you add it to my tab?
It's very much like in It's a Wonderful Life, if Bedford Falls did become Pottersville and it like turned into like a dystopian kind of town.
Right.
That is what we're living in. And I honestly think that this character is supposed to be like the grandson of the guy who employs George Bailey when he's a kid.
Oh, I remember.
Because I think it's supposed to be the same general store.
Yeah.
I know in It's a Wonderful Life it starts with a G, and so does his name in this.
Maybe.
I don't know if it's exactly the same, but I think it's supposed to be like we're paying homage to that universe at least.
Probably. I do feel like this movie is a little bit the story of Quilt Town, but with Bigfoot instead of Quilt Town, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, we go to Quilt Town every time we go to Panic Fest because we promise Paige. And it's like an hour drive.
Yeah.
And it's a town that like quilting built or quilting saved at least.
So yeah, it is a lot like this. Quilting saved the town where most of the town, they were a railroad town, and when the railroad stopped being as important, a lot of stuff closed down. They managed to save the grocery store and like one or two other things, but most of the town had died, and so this one company or this one family built a company around like a quilting company and online presence, and like basically the whole town is Quilt Town now.
Yeah.
Similar things happened in Waco, Texas with
David Koresh. Yeah.
No, Chip and
with
Joanna
the cult and
Gaines
stuff. Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, with the cult.
But explain what you're really saying. Sorry.
Yeah, no, Chip and Joanna Gaines, where they started basically doing a couple of houses, and then they built like a whole restaurant, a thing, and it became like a tourist destination.
Yeah.
It's
really cool. I'll say this for Quilt Town. It sounds terrible. I enjoy it every time we go.
We have a good time every time.
We do. We have a good time. Natalie comes along. It's great. We have a blast.
We get milkshakes, real good milkshakes.
That is my only demand when we go. And you can back me up on that. I'm like, I'll go if we can get a milkshake. I drive every time. I'm like, I'll drive. I just get a milkshake when we get there.
Yep.
And we always park right in front of that milkshake store.
Yes, we do.
And they're great.
Yes, we do.
Check out Quilt Town.
And they see us coming too. They're like, what the hell is wrong with these people? We're like, we're here for the milkshakes.
That guy, it looks like that guy drove an hour and 15 minutes for this shake alone. And I'm like, I did. Let's go.
We're here for the shakes and the fabrics. Anyway.
By the way, Shakes in the Fabrics is my favorite The Weeknd song, but we can move on.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. I don't know. I loved his season of Ultimatum though.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. I had to stop watching. It was making me too angry.
I've heard it described as, have you seen season 3 of Ultimatum Cuck Edition?
Oh my God.
Because yeah.
I mean, I haven't gotten that far. No one's gotten cucked yet.
Oh, Paige, have people not left the show yet?
No. I turned it off literally right as they were going. No, it's fine. I'll get back to it eventually. It was too much anxiety and frustration in an already anxious and frustrating time at work.
Yeah.
So I had to turn it off. But I texted you guys why I turned it off. And in part, it was because it was really bothering me to see so many people with such low self-esteem that it was negatively impacting my own mental health. And so instead, I went and watched a new Wattpad movie.
Oh, God.
We won't do it on the show. We won't.
Okay,
we couldn't get
thank
through
you,
it. No,
thank
it's
you,
fine.
thank you.
It's fine. It wasn't that good.
Oh, really?
It was one of their teen ones.
A Wattpad movie not being great? Can you imagine it?
I had high hopes. Axel was in it. But no, I did text you guys all the crazy plot points at like 3 a.m. instead of watching.
I know. I woke up and I was like, oh, wow. Paige watched something interesting.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, Judy Greer watched something interesting, and it's her boss mismanaging the funds of the store. But she makes them coffee and is like, oh, isn't that sweet? And then Ian McShane comes in to sell meat because he's a hunter selling meat door to door like it's 7 brides for 7 brothers.
Paige, when he walks in and he's like, I got some moose meat and some elk meat and some swamp meat. I don't even know what he's saying. He's just saying meat. And he's like, oh, yeah, I do want some meat. I was like, is this where he gets his meat from just like a loose man on the street? Like, I don't think I want...
beautiful.
I know.
I have some elky steaks. There's meat
insane.
and it's tied with meat. Yeah, it's just...
But he's like a trapper who like is
Yes.
selling his wares, like his like raw meat at a local general store in 2017?
Yeah,
in
Todd-
God's America?
Todd,
What?
Todd, are you familiar with the musical masterpiece Cannibal the Musical?
Paige, you know I am.
Yeah, he just reminded me of the trappers in that of just like, I can kill a helpless animal, skin it with my bare hands. I was just like, what is happening?
But it's Ian McShane.
I know.
So I'm like, yeah, man. Like, I would buy meat off this guy. He's so charming. He's great. He's amazing.
Yeah, I honestly... Here's the thing, and this is what it is. This is why this movie kind of doesn't work for me, because I think the premise is fantastic. I'll be honest with you. A Bigfoot Christmas movie?
Come on.
Here for it. Come on. Take my fucking money.
A Bigfoot Christmas movie where that Bigfoot Christmas man saves Christmas and the town?
Yes.
What?
Yes, I know. But, and here's the thing. The Thomas Lennon portion of it is exactly the version I want. The other part that's the Hallmark version that's more subdued, not so much. And what I need is Ian McShane like catching a rabbit or something with his bare hands and then snapping its neck with his teeth. just like, got good steaks this week. Like, I need Hot Rod Ian McShane.
Wait, he did that in the store while selling his other meat? Paige,
It's fresh.
That would be a damn magic trick.
No, I meant in the snow. But
Okay, that makes more sense.
Just we cut to him just like snap, and he's got like 4 rabbits or something crazy. I just want him to be an insane animal murderer, fully Hot Rod style. Until later when he's like, I could catch you a Bigfoot.
I mean, he just becomes Quint. Like, he is our Quint of this movie, and I love it.
Black like a rabbit's eyes.
And that's how you can only spot him in the snow.
We're gonna need a bigger tent. Yeah, like, that's all I want.
He does sort of kick them out of the tent.
Oh, he does.
Like, he does say that.
Yes, because he's not accepting of their lifestyle.
I also, I want to get out ahead of this. Like, I like Ian McShane and his portrayal of this character so much in this movie. I really don't want to address why he may have had a Luger, but that is the gun he is using.
That is true. And now that I have also thought of a version of insane murderous hunter Ian McShane in this movie, I want them to come upon the furries and him to think they're real animals and just snap somebody's neck.
Yes, please. Paige, allow me to lean in.
But to try and snap a neck and it just pulls the head off and the guy's like, hey.
It turns the head around, but he's fine. Yeah.
He's fine, yeah.
I have to say, my favorite reveal in this movie is that when they do think they're finding Bigfoot, they just stumble into a furry orgy in the woods.
Yep.
Hilarious. A furry orgy that has at least a generator because it's got tons of lights hanging from trees.
Organizers did great this year, yeah.
But the fact that they think they're sneaking up on Bigfoot and that's what they stumble into, that generator would be loud as shit.
Yeah, you know how Bigfoot loves twinkle lights. But what if Bigfoot was real and was just at the furry orgy these are my people?
Honestly,
that's what's up.
We have no way to know. I think Bigfoot was in that scene, but he just blends in. You can't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't more furries dress up as cryptids Furries, I know there are furry listeners. Sound off. Tell me about it.
Furry, sound off in the chat.
Tell us.
Yeah.
Why you not being Mothman and Swamp Thing?
Ooh, let me get that swamp thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I bet those people exist and they're just called something else.
Oh, yeah, probably cosplay.
I did a little cosplay. There's a lot of that going on.
You know what? Controversial opinion. I don't think furries and cosplay are all that different.
I mean, you could drill down pretty deep and find a difference between the two, but you're like really splitting hairs because in both situations, you're putting on a costume to bang. And I am not,
not bang if you don't want to bang, but it's the costume.
I don't care what you do. I'm just saying, yes. Paige, and I'll say this. If Natalie was like, I want to like bump Uggs while you're dressed as a fox and I'm dressed as a whatever, like I would be like, how much are the costumes? Let's do it.
They're expensive, man. They're really expensive.
They've got to be dry clean only though, right? You just have to assume it's only dry. Well, who knows? But I don't want to know.
Well, there's like all kinds of innovation to make them more comfortable.
Sure.
Because like they get hot.
Paige, you're talking to someone who wore leather pants on stage when he played drums. I know about hot pants. But my point is like when Christina Hendricks reveals herself to be a furry, I'd be like, I can figure that out for you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
I don't feel like that's a huge ask out of Christina Hendricks.
I don't think, and we're about to get to that scene in like 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we should just get there. But
the movie concentrates way too much on the furry part. I think the real deal breaker is that there was cheating going on,
Yes,
but like
absolutely.
the furry part we can live with.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's figure it out.
I have to assume with the amount of time Christina Hendricks brings up furries or invites people to like furry gatherings, that she has talked to her husband about this a few times. Like this is not the first time she's brought it up.
Or she was hiding it, and once he finds out, she feels like she could be more open about it.
Maybe.
And maybe, I don't know, because like...
Who knows? We don't see that. So that's, I mean, that's a fair read. I don't know.
Yeah, as the movie goes on, it becomes more and more obvious that I'm like, she's a furry, capital F. That is her thing. That is her, that's who she be. Like, that is just her thing. And like, there's a lot of them in this town.
Paige, would you say she's just a furlanderer?
I would call her a cryptid fucker because she wants to bang Bigfoot, and we'll get to
Paige,
it.
who does? Oh, wait. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little too honest there, especially after I saw that X-Files episode where they draw some titties on Bigfoot.
Where they drew titties on Bigfoot.
Paige, we got to move on. I can't talk about more X-Files.
Oh,
I'm still doing my watch through. That shit's great. I'm sorry. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. X-Files fucking slaps.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ian McShane also has moonshine, and maybe that's why he keeps calling him Maynard. But
he does. And the whole movie call him Maynard.
Yes. And I do love that he's like, hey, man, doesn't moonshine make you crazy? And he's like, life should make you crazy because we're just on a spinning rock in the middle. And I'm like, don't remind me. I don't have enough Martinelli. It's fine. Everything's fine.
I don't think anybody has enough Martinellis. Like, it's
delicious.
Non-alcoholic.
It's also just delicious, and it's always gone too soon.
There you go.
Anyway.
Guys, this episode brought to you by Martinelli's. Martinelli's, when you're sad, but don't drink.
Glug, glug. But.
You know their famous slogan, glug, glug.
Glug, glug. But he gives him the elk steaks and some moonshine. He's like, next time you want to get crazy, he's like, all right. And he like looks at the steaks and the booze, and he's like, you know what? I'll go home and surprise my wife, and I'll go home early and we'll have a nice dinner. And I was like, she gonna be having an affair. Because anytime in any Christmas movie that anyone goes home from work early, your significant other is jingle balls deep in somebody else.
Oh,
every time.
Paige, you are a ho so right. And listen, I think the worst thing you can say in the first scene of a Hallmark movie that your spouse is not in is, I'm going to go home and surprise my spouse.
Yes.
Because that means you're about to be
cheated on
or are currently being cheated on.
Yeah, they're trying to find a way to get you to go back home to your hometown to the Christmas tree farm. And the only way they can do that is if somebody that you love is donning their gay apparel.
Oof.
undonning it as it will, like taking it off.
Or donning their fur apparel. Is it fur apparel? I don't know the terminology, guys. I'm sorry for
It's their fursuits.
Oh, I like fursuits.
Fursuits.
Okay.
Fursuit is what it's called.
All right.
And there are people that make a lot of money making custom fursuits, and they get very elaborate. Anyway.
I don't want to search for like any image because it's going to screw up my algorithm. I can't like.
No, it'll be fine. I know most of this because for a brief point in time, Jake worked for a company that did set up and takedown for like events. So they would set up like stages and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, like live events? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And like conventions and things like that. And they worked FurryCon a couple times. And it was like right when we first started dating.
They have their own con?
Oh my God, Todd,
Paige.
it's huge. They have localized cons.
Hell yes.
Like
I love it.
Regional ones and stuff.
Good for you guys.
And
that's great.
I know. And Jake's boss was a furry. That's how they got the gig.
Hell yeah.
Was that they would get hired for FurCon or whatever it's called. And so he has known many furries in his day. And I remember we'd only been dating like a couple months, and he was like sending me pictures like of him like in the hallway with like his toolbox and just surrounded by furries. It was great. It was wild.
Awesome. That's so cool. I mean, like,
but they're overall, all the ones I've met, super nice.
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
If you have the self-confidence to go to FurryCon, like that's awesome.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
for you. Like, no joke.
Some of the fursuits are fucking intense.
All right,
Like,
I'm going to Google it. I'm just going to Google it.
Google it. I can't wait for you to see. I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
Let's keep moving through it, and I'll bring up some.
While Todd's mind hole is about to be blown.
Ooh, blow my mind hole.
Yep. To find his wife, Christina Hendricks, dressed as a bunny, in flagrante, yiffing and scritching with Ron Perlman dressed as a wolf. Clearly a wolf, by the way. It is the most obvious wolf ever. And for some reason, Michael Shannon's like, a squirrel. It doesn't look like a squirrel. It looks like a wolf.
Paige walked in on his wife cheating on him. Maybe give this man a little grace in this moment. It might be a squirrel. Who knows?
Me knows, because it's got a long nose like a wolf.
It has a snout. I mean, there is no snout. Wait, there is no doubt it is a snout.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And I guess we must have quit. But
how'd you feel about the fursuits you just saw?
Paige, I have many feelings in this moment. I'm just going to share my screen.
Do it. They also have names and like full identities. It's very...
Paige, the titties on that fur suit concern me.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
They're huge. It's like insane.
They're massive.
Good God.
But look at this one next to him that looks kind of Viking-ish.
What, this one?
Like I could... No.
Oh, that guy?
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could get down with that shit. Like, what's going on? Yeah, hello.
All I'm saying is if Natalie was like, I want to wear a fursuit and bang, I'd be like, I could figure that out for you. Like, I don't think it would be too much of an ask. Paige, like, look at this guy. You could ride this guy all night.
Yeah.
Come on. He's got a six-pack.
I know.
And honestly, an adorable face. Well, I guess fox head or whatever. But like, yeah.
Yeah, well, and okay, here's the thing. Some people don't do it for sex. Some people do it as like an alternate personality that they like to explore fantasy within.
That's fine.
But
whatever
that's fine.
does it for you. I don't care.
Whatever.
But this lady definitely here to bone.
Yeah.
She's like on top of a bed.
Only furs.
Only
Yeah.
furs.
But I will say, as someone who likes to be cozy and bundled up in blankets, I ain't mad about rubbing up on some soft furry stuff if that's what we're talking. Like making out and just rubbing soft stuff together. Okay. All right. Let's go. You know?
Now you're just talking about lemon parties.
Jake's like half wolf anyway.
He sort of is. You're right. I can see it for you. I can see it for y'all. Yeah, I get it.
Anyway, we also find out that Ron Perlman's like, he's like, I'm a big personality around town, so like you can't tell people about this. And he's like, I don't even know what to tell them at this point.
Paige, every member of the town is a member of the Fursiety.
Literally everybody.
Yes, it seems, because we only see like, I don't know, conservatively 12 people.
Yes.
And all 12 of them are at that furry orgy at the end.
Yep. I think that's more just how many cast members they were able to employ.
Yes,
but
Paige, that's fully what this is.
Anyway, Christina Hendricks is like, I think we should take a break. And he then drives moonshine drunk back to the store.
Yeah.
Where he's like back at work, and Judy Greer's like, oh, I was just about to lock up. And he's like, I'm super drunk. And she's like, okay. And the dialogue here is written by someone who's never been drunk. I think.
Maybe, I don't know. It's not great, but that's not unlike any time in this movie that isn't improv by someone in a Thomas Lennon scene.
Yeah. But at this point, we're only 11 minutes in, and we're like, what is happening?
Well, Paige, he came home early because Ian McShane sort of double dog dared him to.
Right.
And his wife was not banging, but like maybe cheating on him in a fursuit with the sheriff in the town who was Ron Perlman.
Dry humping up on Ron Perlman.
Yeah. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
It's not great.
That's what's happening.
They call that a repipe.
Thank you. She was taking some repipe.
She was. Yeah, that's the joke.
Anyway, so she's like, okay, you're clearly having a moment. I'm going to go home. I'll be back first thing in the morning, but you have a good night in the store. Now, he does say, I think I'd rather just be here alone and think about wolves and rocks and stuff. And I was like, we are Sex Bomb and we want to think about wolves and rocks and stuff. And I couldn't get it out of my brain. But on her way out, he's like, I just got one important question for you. Do you belong to Furry Sex Club? And she's like, I'm out. No thanks.
I actually think she invites him home, just like sleep on her couch. Because it's not like romantic between them, although she is the person he ends up with at the end.
She did, but once he brings up Furry Sex Club, she's like, never mind, you should stay here. Please get some rest.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, you should sleep at the store. Yeah, I don't know anything about this Fur Sex Club.
Yeah, but so at this point, he starts wandering around the store and he's like, I could be a wolf. And he finds a ghillie suit and
Paige,
camouflage.
I'm so glad you're bringing this up and that you called it what it is.
Yes.
Because this is a suit a sniper would wear to hide in the woods to murder the guy who dressed as possibly a squirrel to cheat on him with his wife.
Right.
I was like, is he going into the woods to kill the sheriff of this town? And people are going to see him doing that and thinking it's Bigfoot? Because that would be fun.
That would be fun. No, I knew that he was just going to wander around town and have a weird old time. But my thing was like, what kind of general store has all of these things? Because it's a leftover Halloween costume, like gorilla mask and hands and whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, a Buc-ee's. This is like if Buc-ee's and Cracker Barrel had a small baby. But that's what he finds in this store that seems to have conveniently everything. And then he just goes running out around town. But it's Michael Shannon, not necessarily known for his running. That's no shade. That's just, he's a serious actor. Like, he be acting in rooms and stuff, not necessarily running around like a Marvel superhero. And so it just looks like a drunk man running. And to the point where I don't even know if it's him. It's probably just somebody else in the suit.
I also think that that's just proving he's a great actor because he's supposed to be playing a drunk man running.
Yeah.
So nailed it, Michael Shannon. Like, he's great.
Nailed it.
Credit Karma makes building your credit straightforward and stress-free with help from our credit builder. Sign up today at creditkarma.com and start enhancing your financial health. Credit Karma, your partner in building a brighter financial future. Credit Builder plan is serviced by Credit Karma Credit Builder and requires a line of credit and savings account provided by Cross River Bank, member FDIC.
Did you know that you can make your life-saving donation to Doctors Without Borders go even further? Whether you donate stock, recommend a grant through your donor-advised fund, or make an IRA-qualified charitable distribution, you can take advantage of strong market performance this year to maximize your charitable impact, making it possible for Doctors Without Borders to stay ready to respond in more than 70 countries around the world. Together, we go further. Explore ways to give at doctorswithoutborders.org/podcast.
But the next day, he wakes up back at the store and they're all watching this old-timey TV at the store. And some guy, it's basically the Leprechaun YouTube video, but it's like, I saw Bigfoot down at the mill. All y'all see the Bigfoot? Say, yeah. I found an authentic Bigfoot flute.
Paige, I literally wrote in my notes, everyone saw that squatch say, hey! Because I thought the exact same thing. I just wrote a different joke about it. That's so funny. But yeah, it is 100% that.
Could be a Bigfoot that got hold to the wrong branches. Oh, God. Anyway, so he goes to hide the evidence and he's like, he puts it all in a bag. He's like, I got to go tell the sheriff. He goes to the sheriff and Ron Perlman's like, hey, I meant to talk to you about the whole thing. And it's been a wild morning because somebody saw fucking Bigfoot. And he's like, yeah, about that. But before he can do anything, there's a TV producer on the phone and he's like, Discovery Channel, you don't say. So he just takes the bag of Bigfoot stuff back to the store, And as he's on his way back to the store, one of the guys from, and I know it was that cracked thing, I couldn't remember which team it was, like which sketch group it was, but one of the guys was a cracked guy back in the day. And I wish I could find it. I was looking everywhere and I couldn't find it.
Is it one of the two guys who sells stuff in his store?
Yes.
Are you talking about Michael Torney or Torrey?
Yes, that's who it was.
I think it's Torpy, Torpey, I believe.
Torpy,
Yeah,
yes,
Michael Torpy.
yeah.
I actually have so I wrote, I literally wrote in my notes, okay, weird note. But back when the internet was like cool, like pre-YouTube,
Yes.
Michael Torpy, who is that guy,
Yes.
or one of those two guys, did like an internet short
Yes.
TV series called Network. It was net underscore
That's what
work.
it was
Yes.
Network. Yes. Okay. I was like, I know I've seen this guy.
And it was with him and Michael Gorman and Jillian Pensavelli. It's like
Yes,
it's like
yes.
a bunch of like people who went on to be low key famous, not super famous. Although Jillian is super famous, but like
well, they all went on to write for other stuff.
Yes, yeah,
because
yeah,
he's written for like a bunch of things.
yeah.
Anyway.
I love Torpy. Torpy's amazing. He's so funny. I mean, Amy Schumer was in one episode of Network. Like
yeah, way back in the day. Yes.
way back in
Yeah.
the day. This is like 2006, 2007. Like I was in college.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this is like,
Yeah.
I found it on E-Bombs World, I think. Like this is like old internet days.
Yes. This is super old. But yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
that guy.
I love that guy. Yeah. Torpy's great. I like Michael Gorman so much too. Like
Yes.
it's always great to see them pop up and stuff.
But he and his friend are like, hey, all y'all saw the Bigfoot, say merch. And he's like, we're going to sell merch around the Bigfoot.
Yeah, they pretty much pull a Roswell, right? So like the town is like, all right, how can we monetize this Bigfoot sighting immediately?
Hey, I've been working on my own writing project for a while that centers around a town like this. And have now visited multiple towns where alleged supernatural things have happened. And when I tell you that people will monetize that till the end of time, and the most unrealistic part of this is that they stop.
I know, right?
Or rather they pivot. Crazy. Like I've not been to Roswell. That's next on my list. But I have been to a handful of Bigfoot ones, multiple alien ones, and literally everything, any gas station, anything. They're like, do you want alien jerky? Do you want glasses? Do you want whatever?
Yeah.
And it's like, that is that town's claim to fame. That's this. And they're like, we're going to sell t-shirts and could we sell them in your store? And he's like, yeah, sure. Yeah. All right. And as he's walking back to the store after talking to them, he passes Christina Hendricks and she's like speed walking to the group of people who saw the Bigfoot.
Yeah, because she wants to fuck that Bigfoot.
She wants to fucking fuck Bigfoot.
She's like, how big are those feet?
Right? You know, the bigger the foot, the I don't really know what kind of genitalia big feet have, but like, I bet it's bigger if their feet are bigger.
Let me show you this diagram Mulder showed me. I'm so glad I mentioned that episode so I could use that joke right there. That's great.
Which cryptid do you want to bang, and why is it Swamp Thing? Nope.
Oh, were you asking me? I don't know enough cryptids to know which one I'd like to stick my dick inside of.
Yeah,
I'll just Google list of cryptids I'd fuck.
List of cryptids. Mothman, Nessie, Bigfoot, a giant owl that's a big hoot, the Fresno Walkers, the Men in Black, the Black-Eyed Children.
Well, I'll just say this. Googling sexy cryptids didn't really yield any sexy results. So I'm going to say none. I don't think I'd have sex with a cryptid.
You'd have sex with the nun?
I mean...
the demon that pretends to be a nun from the Nun franchise movies? Weird choice, but okay.
Yo, if Natalie wanted to wear a habit and bang it out, I would happily bang that nun to death. Like, it's forever. Yeah.
To death? Don't kill Natalie.
Well, I mean, we're married. Like, that's it for me. Like, I'm happy with that. Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can kill it.
I didn't mean like I'm going to bang it so hard she dies. I just meant like tell death do us part and all of that. I meant it like the romantic way, not the violent sex way.
It definitely sounded like the violent sex way. And that's my favorite. Anyway, so she want to fuck Bigfoot.
If the listeners know Natalie edits the show, this becomes way more uncomfortable.
Oh my God. One of the reasons we had to tape later this week at one point is I was at a friend's stand-up special taping.
Yeah.
And his parents were in the front row, but they were, a lot of times when they tape specials, they'll tape multiple specials back to back.
Yeah.
So like the other comedian was on and was just like, how about you, ma'am? Do you take it in the ass? And we were like, that's his mom. Like, what do we do? And we're just like sitting a few rows back off in this like VIP area. We're like, I don't know. What? And she was just like, we're like, I don't want to know the answer. Please. Like,
excuse me while I lean in, Paige. Did she answer or did she just giggle?
no, she just giggled, and the comedian thankfully moved along. But we pulled him aside after. We're like, yo, this is Tom's mom and dad.
And he was like, I know.
That's why I asked. I needed that information.
I know.
Anyway, he goes back to his store and hides the bag of Bigfoot things. And we kind of get like a time jump. We don't know exactly how long, because we also don't know how close to Christmas this is, because it does paint it as like a Christmas movie, but we have no idea what days this is happening.
It's Christmas-ish time, it's whatever. Yeah.
Right.
But this time jump could be a day. It could be 3 days, could be a week.
Right.
Because the next real scene of substance is when Thomas Lennon gets there and like just fucks the town shit up in the best way possible.
Yeah, we get into that in the store first, where it's like the store is packed, everyone's
Yes.
buying everything, they're buying the Bigfoot merch.
Yeah.
And then they're like, come quick, a helicopter's about to touch down. And you're like, what?
That is true. So it does set it up like it is already becoming sort of a tourist attraction on some level. Yeah, you're right.
Right.
And that's when they run outside to see the helicopter. Yeah.
Yeah, they're already selling freeze-dried candy and jerky. But they run out to the helicopter, and it's Thomas Lennon, and he's just like, all right, I'm Australian Thomas Lennon. And you're like, this is the worst Australian accent.
It sounds like me trying to do Australian, Paige. It's so bad.
It's so bad.
But it's so funny, especially because the reveal later on is that he's just from like Coney Island.
Yeah, he's from New York. And when he gets to his regular accent later, I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
Because I'll spoil a fun fact, and they're not a ton of fun facts, but this did win a Razzie for the worst Australian accent.
I mean, yeah, nailed it.
But I think it's a little unfair, given that he is playing an American pretending to be Australian.
Oh, yeah. I think that wins genuinely. Like, he wanted it to be the worst Australian accent.
The worst Australian accent, yes.
And he nailed it. Like, that just says that's a great acting performance.
Right. I mean,
that's when a Razzie, it's like a double negative, sort of.
Yeah.
Because, you did a bad job at an Australian accent, but, like, that was your job as an actor that day, so way to crush it, Tom.
I think of that almost like in Tropic Thunder, where Robert Downey Jr. is playing an Australian actor playing the character in Tropic Thunder in blackface with a completely different accent. Like, it's the levels, the layers.
Yeah.
The deep into the hole of I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. Anyway, Australian Tom Lennon. And as he's kind of like gathering a whole group around him, Ian McShane is like, hey, did your wife enjoy the elk steaks? And he's like, she's been enjoying all kinds of animals lately. Because Michael Shannon just mumbles his way through the rest of this movie.
Yeah.
Like, just full mumblecore.
Like a man who is living through the saddest days of his life because his wife cheated on him, Paige. I get what you're saying.
Bigfoot's the only time he gets to feel alive.
Putting on those big feet.
Big feet.
Sorry, I just can't.
I do love that, like, we do get a little brief montage of, like, all the things he's been doing as Bigfoot because he just thought it was making the town happy. So he's, like, stopping by people's Christmas window, like, the window looking into their Christmas tree, and is like, hi. And they're like, hi, Bigfoot. And I'm like, okay, all right.
It like gets to be the point where like everyone's seen him, and it's not like it's dark outside every time they see them. So it's like,
right. Do you see Bigfoot mowing the lawn?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see Bigfoot wearing shorts and black socks pushing the mower? Like, it's like everyone's seen him in daylight. It's a costume. Like, it's a costume. It doesn't even look like a real animal.
Right.
It looks like a dude in a costume.
Yeah. And so at this point, they assemble a search party, and they're like, find anything interesting. Here are the whistles. You can only whistle if it's something important. And they find a dead deer.
Ugh.
And Ian McShane is like, no, that deer probably, caught its leg in a hole, which broke its leg, and then it died of exposure.
Yeah, because Thomas Lennon is like, oh, this is definitely a squatch or whatever.
Yeah.
The squatch is definitely here.
Only a squatch could do that. And he's taking multiple takes of it. Somewhere he takes the glasses off, somewhere he keeps them on. Very funny.
I love that. I also love that, like, we're getting the POV through the camera that is his, like, camera, right?
Right.
And he keeps telling it, give me a cowboy upshot, and they refuse.
Right.
They refuse to give him a cowboy up shot because a cowboy up is like top of your boots to the top of your head, and they only go like chest to top of the head. Anyway, I thought it was funny.
And he asks for it every time.
He does.
But we then cut back to the general store where he's like having like almost like a little town hall meeting because he's like, where can I get some Foster's? It's Australian for beer. And you're like, boo.
Well, that's when they cut back to the general, like the maybe general store or whatever, wherever they're having this meeting, right?
Yeah, it's the general store.
But this is sort of the town meeting where Quint shows up in Jaws, right?
Right, except not quite yet because first he plays an insane song that he wrote about Sasquatch.
Oh, on the bench. I forgot about that. It's terrible. It's real bad.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
And I do, mercifully, it only goes for one verse. And he's like, there's a lot more verses, but like, I don't have to play all of them. And you're like, what? And then Christina Hendricks is like, do you ever like dress up like a Squatch? And fully just like sploosh, like sliding off the seat.
But Paige.
And he's like,
But Paige.
Huh.
I mean,
yes.
Who better do you want in the bedroom?
Oh, I know.
Than someone who is like into hunting animals, right? I got why Christina Hendricks was like, I bet Thomas Lennon's a freak.
Or someone who will yes and like Thomas Lennon. Like, who more do you want to role play with? But my favorite is he's like, at one point he compares himself to Nelson Mandela. And you're like, sir, what? Like, no, what is happening? This is out of control. But this is where Ian McShane scratches
Paige.
and is like, I could kill it.
Paige, before we get to Ian McShane, I have to show you the best acting performance in the movie. And it takes place while Thomas Lennon is playing the guitar and singing the song. And then they cut to the audience and it's the guy who's standing or sitting next to Christina Hendricks. I captured the moment on my phone and I'm going to show it to you now because it's insane. The guy, like, when he's done playing, he, like, starts clapping like it's absolute cinema.
Yes.
Like, it's the best thing he's ever heard in his life. Like, look at that guy.
Well, that's the other guy, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's the other guy in the merch store. He is clapping like Shia LaBeouf at the end of that music video that's all about Shia LaBeouf catching and murdering people. Like, it is... Have you not seen that ballet performance / avant-garde piece on YouTube? That
No, yes, okay.
It's amazing. You should watch it. But like at the end of that, Shia LaBeouf is clapping very seriously.
And crying, if I remember correctly.
Yes. In this movie, there's a guy doing it in this scene. Almost exactly the same kind of clapping, and it's so funny to me. I'm so sorry. But yeah, then it does sort of like cut over to Ian McShane, and he's like, you all know me. You know how I earn a living. I'll catch this pup for you, but it ain't going to be easy. Sneaky ape. It's not like going into the woods and catching a bunny or a deer. This Squatch, he'll crush you like a twig, which is like, that's like Quint. That's like 100% Quint.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Oh wait, I guess this isn't where he like negotiates the
No, that's later. That's later.
Yeah. Because that's also like a Quint moment. He's like, for 5,000, I'll go alone.
I'll go with you.
Oh, I'll go with you. That's right.
Yeah, to catch and kill him, it's 10,000.
But he should have been like, just like, for that, you'll get the head, pelts, the whole damn thing. Like, they should have gone all the way and given me all of Quint.
Yeah,
like, they should have, like, honestly just reproduced all the monologues.
They get so close.
I know, but like, those moments could have been so funny if they had like really leaned into the Quint of it all.
There is one monologue reproduced in its entirety. And we'll get to it momentarily because it's 2 scenes from now.
Love it. Okay.
And I'm so excited about it. But Michael Shannon is like in his van being like practicing telling Christina Hendricks that he's like, I'm Bigfoot. But he sees the Monster Hunter vans like pull down the street. And so he follows them.
Yeah.
We cut to them in the woods prepping for shots, shooting what amounts to a Bigfoot hunter show. And they do all the stuff where he's like, they're attracted to the sap and knocks and claps. And I'm like, oh my God, we have got to talk about this shit because this is the dumbest part of Bigfoot shows that I can't stop fucking watching because they're like, we got to do some knocks, which is where they take 2 pieces of wood and they knock them together because they're like, only humans and Bigfoots could do this. I'm like, what are you talking about? A bear could absolutely hit a thing with another thing. What are we even entertaining with this nonsense?
Paige, my favorite part of it is what he's saying when he's hitting the wood together. He keeps saying, come out for some sap, come out for your sap.
Come out for some sap.
Come out for your sap. And you're like, what are you saying, Thomas Lennon? It's so funny.
He then, in the midst of this, because they have to like reset the shot, he yells at a crew member, for moving and being in his light. And that monologue is word for word.
Is it?
The Christian Bale monologue.
Oh my God. No shit. That's amazing.
You'll never work in this town again.
And that lighting guy's like, it's Pottersville. I don't want to work here again.
It's Potter. What are you talking about?
That's so funny.
And I have to imagine that that's just John Lennon being a silly goose.
Love it.
But yeah, it's directly that monologue. But he then does the Squatch call, which is exactly the way they do it on the shows and is kind of hilariously funny. But now Michael Shannon is in the woods because he followed them. And he calls back, and the crew is like, that wasn't us. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Well, they have like a plant in the woods, like a guy who's supposed to make sounds so it like they can pretend Bigfoot's really out there for the show or whatever.
Right.
And it's so funny to me because he's wearing all black, but he also has a black hat on, but it has like neon monster finders on it. So you'd be able to see him from like 40 yards away just because you would say monster finders on his hat. But he's like, when they hear the actual, well, it's Michael Shannon, but the guy in the costume make the Bigfoot sound, he's like, oh my God, you're putting it on too much. And the guy on the radio is like, that wasn't me. I didn't make that sound. And then Michael Shannon runs past him and they all freak out because they potentially think it might be Bigfoot.
Oh, and they run, and the footage of them running is so funny.
It goes from Bigfoot produced TV show to the Blair Witch Project so fast. It's so funny to me. Yeah.
But I also love that they leave Michael Shannon in the woods because they run away and he's like, oh, I don't think they got the picture. Like thinking that they just needed to get one and then they would be over and they'd go and leave. But at this point, we cut to Thomas Lennon's hotel room with his producer where he's like, I'm done. And I'm like, oh, he's not even Australian. He's just like, I didn't want to do this. I never want to do the show. I'm an actor. I wanted to do movies. Could we just, whatever? And she's like, well, what if we catch, call the local hunter guy. You catch whatever this is, and then you use it to retire. And he's like, okay, fine. And then we'll do movies. And I was like, okay. And from now until like 20 minutes from now, it's basically Thomas Lennon's movie and not Michael Shannon's movie.
Yeah, and I ain't mad at it.
No. But so they go to Ian McShane's little cabin and he's like, all right, but this is where we get the like 5K to go with you, 10K to like catch and kill the thing and meet me out in the truck in 10 minutes. Okay.
It's great.
And Ron Perlman is going to go with them. So it's him, Ron Perlman, and Thomas Lennon in the woods.
Yeah.
Now, meanwhile, we cut back to the store and people in the store are getting mean and they're forgetting the reason for Christmas. Because it's Santa, not Bigfoot. I don't know, but they're kind of being assholes.
Yeah.
And people aren't treating the Bigfoot display nicely or whatever. But this is where they run in. They're like, Bart's going to catch it. So like, get the Bigfoot stuff while you still can. Which, by the way, if they caught a Bigfoot, they would sell so many shirts. Like, it's not like people would stop going there because the Bigfoot's dead. Like, Bigfoot hunters aren't about only finding live Bigfoot. They want just proof of Bigfoot. So like, if you have a Bigfoot pelt, like people come to your town forever. Like, come on.
You hang that junk on the wall.
Yeah.
And if Snow Quint, which is I'm realizing what we should have been calling Ian McShane this whole time.
Oh my God, Snow Quint.
Snow Quint.
It's like Snow Crixus.
Exactly. If he had done his job right, he'd have been like, I value my neck a lot more than $5,000, Sheriff. I'll find him for $5, but I'll catch him and kill him for 10.
Yes.
You got to make up your minds if you want to stay alive. You got to ante up. Sorry, I just think Ian McShane should have just done the like Quint speech from Jaws.
It's very close.
For 10,000, you get the pelt, the head, the whole thing.
The whole thing.
It would have been great.
But anyway, now they know they're going to catch it.
Yeah.
And Michael Shannon's like, gulp. And I'm like, okay, but if you don't go out in the woods, like.
Oh, but Paige, he gets so sad in this movie, he pretty much writes like a Bigfoot aside note. You're laughing, but what else do you call it?
I know.
Like he was going out in the woods to get shot to death.
I just pictured it like a Bigfoot-ifesto.
like he was writing this really long book. Like
yeah. Like she pulls it out of the typewriter. It's like The Hangover 3 was pretty cool.
Oh shit, that's a deep cut reference that a lot of LA cops are gonna hate.
Well, they should stop being assholes. But anyway,
so many people are running to Google right now, and I'm just not even gonna tell them, and it's gonna drive them crazy.
I felt like, that I was a comedian at the time and there were like more famous comedians that I had kind of worked alongside who were like in it.
Yeah.
And they were just like, Weirdest shout out ever.
Who were in the manifesto? We should just tell him who it is.
It's Dorner, but whatever.
Yeah, it's always Dorner, guys.
Look, hey, substitute your manifesto of choice. Dorner, Luigi, however you want to play it.
Oof, yeah. Mario? Anybody.
Mario.
They kept taking my princess to another castle.
Do you know how hard my back hurts with this shell on it all the time? It's me, Bowser. This is my manifesto. But
I just need someone to Photoshop Luigi shooting Bowser in the back of the head on that street.
you know that has happened already. Like, you don't need to ask for our people to do it. I can guarantee that has happened.
I'm just going to go to Reddit real quick. I bet it is.
Just go peep it. While you do that, we cut back to Ian McShane and crew, and they have trank guns, and that's what they're going to be using to try and get the Bigfoot.
Okay.
And also a tent, because they're spending the night.
There's one trank gun, we should say.
There's 2 trank guns.
There's one. The other one's a Luger. It's an actual gun.
The only reason I know there's 2 is because Tom Lennon has one, Ian McShane has another, and the Luger, because he does trank him in the end. Yeah.
He does. Yeah. But he's like carrying around the Luger most of this movie. Like, and this is when I started to develop this is just Al Swearingen, and he fought in World War II and killed a German officer and brought that Luger back.
And just took it.
Yeah. And that's why he still has it and just wanted to go back to live in the woods like it was Deadwood.
You know what's harder than killing that beast out in the woods? Killing them beasts in the trenches. Yeah, just that.
And then coming home and killing the beast in your heart.
They didn't want us. There was no place for us. I came out here to these woods to find the man I used to be before the war. Anyway.
We write terrible dialogue.
This has been our fun backstory.
I kind of like it though. It's fun. Like, yeah,
it's fun.
I like making up stories in movies like this because the movie's not great and I want to have fun with it.
Right. But we cut back to the general store where he's like, what do you think they're going to do if they catch the person who, I don't know, was maybe pretending to be Bigfoot? Because Judy Greer's like, it's definitely a person because big feets aren't real. And they're just like, oh, they'll probably catch him and kill him. And I think she's kidding, but he's like, gulp. Ooh. But then we cut back out to the woods.
Yeah.
Where Thomas Lennon is still trying to make his TV show. And he's like, it's a mating call. What?
And I love the camera he has on the selfie stick thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's smaller than like a sight on a rifle. Like it's a very small little camera on this like long ass pole. It's so funny.
I've used a camera like that because it was the only thing someone could afford as they were filming a live late night show in their apartment.
Oh, I love so many words you're saying in this order. Like that sounds like the best person to have around.
It was, and I got booked on it. Like, I don't even know any of these people anymore. This was super early days of me doing comedy. But they had, and it was probably right around when this movie got made, honestly. They had like a tripod.
Yeah.
And this tiny, tiny camera that tracked movement.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then and it was on like a furniture dolly. And then they would just like push it around the room. So like the musical guest was in the like kitchen. The comedy was in the other part of the kitchen. The main show was in the living room, and they would have like fake commercial breaks and the camera would travel.
Oh my God. That sounds so fun.
And like go to the commercial break, go to the musical person, go to the comedy person. And it was insane and fun in a way that is very difficult to describe, but
that sounds like so much fun.
Very, very fun. But it was this kind of a camera.
Yeah.
To be honest, you could do it so much easier now
of course.
With tech. And it's only like, this was maybe 10 years ago. But the tech we have now, you could make a full television show in your house. Easy.
Paige, I at this time was doing that on Twitch. Like I ran sort of a TV show of me playing video games and shit online. Although I also would do like live streams where I was like walking down the street.
Right.
And so like I would stream that from my phone at this time.
Right.
My life has been weird, but yeah.
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 But yeah, for those of you out there being like, I wish I could do something cool. You can't.
Yeah, just do it.
Turns out you can film a TV show in your house.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're all sleeping in the woods and they hear a tripwire go off and they jump out of the tent. They go to track down the tripwire and he fires at what he thinks is Bigfoot in the woods, but unfortunately shoots Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
Oopsie daisies.
Yeah.
We cut to the next morning where he is FaceTiming with his assistant.
Wait, we should say Shoots Ron Perlman with what, Paige? Because there's two.
Trank gun.
There you go. Yeah, he's not dead, guys. Like, everybody calm down.
He's not dead.
Hellboy's going to be back.
Hellboy could never die. He'll be fine.
He can grind down those antlers all he wants.
And honestly, the David Harbour one's not that bad. Anyway.
I'm sure not.
It's not. It's goes into some weird comic book lore that Jake had to explain to me, but whatever.
Yeah, and listen, the David Harbour one she's talking about is Violent Night.
Ooh. I'm so excited for the sequel.
I know, me too.
Anyway, he FaceTimes his producer and she's like, what are you using for toilet paper? He's like, don't worry about it, because he's like wiping with Purell. It's bad.
I like that he calls her mid shit, which like, no. Finish up and then give me a call.
Yeah.
Also, that's when she asked him, she's like, wait, what are you using for toilet paper? And he's like, I haven't thought that far ahead.
Yes. No.
And then he's like, I got Purell. I think it's fine. And it's probably not fine. It's not.
That's probably going to burn a bit. Anyway, this is where he's like, I have low blood sugar. I'm hungry. And Ian McShane is like, okay, eat these grubs. And he's like, no. And he like throws and he's like, you owe me an iPhone. And at this point, Ian McShane is like, he's out there tonight. We're going to get it.
Yeah.
We're going to get the footage. We cut to the general store, and the producer and one of the other crew are at the general store, and they're like, if he doesn't get something tonight, we're just out of here, because I can't air evidence of him looking scared like it's a bus.
Yeah.
And so Michael Shannon is like, oh no, I've got to go out and be Bigfoot tonight.
With great power comes great foot-sponsibility, Paige. He needs to get his ass on screen.
Yeah. He's ready for his close-up. But this is where Judy Greer's like, hey, instead of being Bigfoot, do you want to come over and watch a movie and eat popcorn? And he's like, rain check. And she's like, oh, no. And he's like, can you take the money to the bank? And she's like, okay, fine. But she knows that he's going to try and be Bigfoot. So she gets like part of the way there and then runs back to the store.
Yeah.
But while that's happening, out in the woods, they are all rip shit on moonshine. And this is where Thomas Lennon is like, Bigfoot is an alien and a criminal, and he was left here as punishment, which I think is maybe the plot of E.T. or Predator.
And I have often said E.T. and Predator are almost shot for shot the same movie for me. I get it. Like, yeah. E.T.'s like, phone home, and Arnold's like, come here, I'm here, come out, come get me, I'm here. If it bleeds, we could kill it.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
I'm doing my famous Thomas Lennon Australian impression.
I think what he is trying to get at is the idea that both aliens and cryptids are interdimensional beings that potentially enter our world through places where the dimensionality of our existence is the thinnest.
Yeah, like Tannis. I get it. Yeah, I think you're probably right. That makes sense. Yeah. It's all made up. Sure.
Look, hey, or it's wormholes. And you know what? If you want to watch a pilot about something like that, good.
Spoiler alert for Paige's pilot.
I mean, hey.
Which is close to Pontius Pilate, but less people die.
Dear pilot, how planes go up and down. Anyway, so they're like, so if you capture Bigfoot, you'll have to read him his rights. And he's like, yeah, I guess so. But we get a brief cut to Judy Greer being like, aw, shucks, he's already left to be Bigfoot. I missed him.
We also get like him typing on a typewriter, right? Like he leaves a note, right?
Not yet. It's after that.
Oh, okay. That's right. That's the next night, maybe?
Because the lights are out in the store. He hasn't left, but he's closed up. But we cut back to, this is what I mean by the pacing on this back half is a mess.
Oh yeah, it's wild. Yeah.
We cut back to the woods where they're like, tell us about Bigfoot's paws. And he's like, oh, the paws. And they're like, what about Bigfoot's scat? And he's like, it's my favorite part of the job. And you're like, great. But I think this is just Ian McShane being like, this guy's fully a fake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. Ian McShane is like reading him for what he is. And it's great.
Right.
Yeah.
And we do at this point, we've cut back to him typing on the typewriter. We then cut back into the woods where they're like, do that weird call again or whatever. And he does, and something calls back, and they're like, okay, there is something in the woods. But I think Ian McShane this whole time is like, it's somebody. It's somebody in the woods. We'll catch him.
I think Ian McShane knows this whole time there's not really a Bigfoot. Yeah, I don't know if he knows it's Michael Shannon, but I think he knows there's no real Bigfoot.
Right. Meanwhile, Judy Greer goes into the clothes store, and this is where she finds the typewriter and cries.
Yeah.
Because she didn't think Hangover 3 was that good. But
this is where she finds that barefooticide note.
Yeah. So they keep looking for Bigfoot. There's nothing there except they run into a gathering of like-minded fur individuals in the forest, getting real into it. And they say it's their Squatch Watch spirit gathering. And I was like, good for y'all. Have fun.
It's like a Squatch Watch orgy in the woods, although it is like a Lifetime movie version of that.
Yeah.
Because no one's ever having furry sex in the movie. Like, let me be clear.
No,
This movie is deeply unsexy.
they're grinding like it's an 8th grade dance. It's not sexy. It's
not.
It's not. But they get all up on Ron Perlman because they know it's him, right?
And he's a big guy around town, guys. Everybody knows the big bad wolf. You know what I'm saying?
Big bad wolf. Ooh. So Ian McShane is just like, I don't like any of this. I don't like your lifestyle. It does seem like Thomas Lennon's kind of into it as well.
Oh, Thomas Lennon's into it.
Yeah. And Ron Perlman, and he fires his gun in the air to be like, knock it off. We got to find Bigfoot. And Ron Perlman's like, hey, furries are people, man. Like, you might not understand, but these are people. And we're like, okay, we get it. But like, we have stopped the momentum of this movie at a dead stop for a speech about furries in a movie that uses them as a punchline multiple times.
I know.
So like, not the place. They get out.
This is when I wrote down like, okay, Ron Perlman might actually like be a furry in real life, which is fine.
Good for him. Good for him.
But yeah, like he really wanted this scene.
I guess.
He's like, I'm sick of explaining it to my kids, so I'm just going to do it here and send them this scene every time they bring it up.
Anyway, they all go back to looking for Bigfoot, but me and McShane won't let them in the tent. But they don't even need to be in the tent very long because there's a howl.
Mm-hmm.
And oops, they shoot into the forest. And at first I was like, oh no, did they get one of the furries? But they're like, we got him. They take him back to town. My favorite part of this is that the town all surrounds the back of that truck.
Yes.
And most of them are still in their fursuits.
Yeah.
So much for keeping anything quiet because they're all there.
Paige, the whole town's in the gang. Like they're all in the Fursiety or whatever. Yeah.
But they take him in. They're like, we got Bigfoot. And Judy Greer is like, no, that's just Maynard, and takes his mask off.
And Ian McShane's like, Maynard,
mustard, mayonnaise, mayo starred mustard mayonnaise.
Maynard star mustard mayonnaise. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Show. That's a good reference. Like,
thank you.
That's like early sketch comedy on TV. Shit.
Every time he called him Maynard, all I could think was, Father, I'm dying. Mayo starred mustard mayonnaise. Anyways, they're all going to be sued, or at least they believe that to be the case, by Thomas Lennon because they wrecked his shoot, which they would never. That's not.
No, they got enough footage to piece together some episode of some trash Bigfoot TV show that Paige is going to lose her mind about.
And even then, it was their risk to shoot there. So like
she's like, she would text us in the group and be like, no, I'm pretty sure they found the Bigfoot, but like it didn't want to come out for SAP. And I'm pretty sure that guy's Australian accent's fake, but I do think they were about to find him, but he got away because the orgy in the woods. And I'd be like, stop it. This is not the Bigfoot ultimatum. Like, why are we, what are you talking about?
Okay, hear me out. I'm pretty sure Bigfoot is wearing a wig-ass wig. And also, that girl does look like Jessica. You know exactly what I'm talking about. She looks exactly like her.
They all do. And the guy looks like The Weeknd. He looks like The Weeknd to me. I don't know why.
He does. And he has the same sad boy energy.
Oof, it's not great. It's not a great look on that guy. Anyway.
Desperation.
Yes.
I can't relate to the ultimatum. Anyway, so he is packing up his stuff because he's going to close the store and leave town because he is ashamed.
Yeah.
Ashamed that he was Bigfoot. And then Judy Greer gets the entire town of 8 people into some sort of conference room and is like, I don't know if you guys know, he's terrible at business. He has not been keeping track of any of the money that you owe him. So you guys should all be a little bit nicer. And they're like, okay. Meanwhile, as he's packing up, a news reporter comes and is like, can you tell us about the Bigfoot? And he's like, I think it gave us hope. And I was like, what? And then all the town comes in and they're just like, here's for the hope you brought me with the Bigfoot. And I am Spartacus and I am Bigfoot.
This is the end of It's a Wonderful Life, guys. You've seen this 1,000 times done better, not about a Bigfoot. And Zuzu got her pedals in that version.
Right.
In this version, we don't get any of that stuff. It's just them coming to save the general store because he gave them, not handouts, but like he was like supposed to like write down how much they owed, put it on their tab or whatever. And he was just like, don't worry about it, more or less.
Yeah.
And that is a sweet gesture. They come in to save the store. I teary-eyed a little bit, but it's like exactly It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes. Except if you look at the counter, I'm like, that's $250 tops. Like, it's so little money.
And this store is cleaned out. Like, there's nothing for sale. Like, it's going to cost more than $250 to get him back on his feet.
Yes. But they're like, you're the richest man in Pottersville. I was like, I hate this. But then as this is happening, it implies that he uses that money to buy the old mill to turn it into a Bigfoot museum, which is absolutely what you should do in this situation.
Yes.
However, there's no way he had enough money. But then also we find out that they're like, turns out the Bigfoot hunter, Brock Masterson, is just an actor from Coney Island. And you're like, oh. We then have like an eye twinkle moment for Ian McShane where I was like, is he Snow Quint or is he Santa? But they never tell us.
I think Snow Quint is just Squint. And I love that.
Squint. And then Michael Shannon and Judy Greer have the most unsettling and unsexy kiss I've ever seen, because they like kiss once and he goes, oh, what are you going to do? And I was like, why are you mumbling between the kisses?
It's like you forced two CPAs to kiss at a bookkeeping convention. That's how boring the kiss is.
Well, and then they look off to the side as if something is happening, but because it's off screen, it's unclear. And that's the movie,
I guess, question mark. And that's what I wrote in my notes. Oh, wait, so all of this has just been one man achieving his dream of saving the town and banging his employee? Because she works for him.
Yes.
Anyway, that's the movie. So, Paige, having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what did you think about Pottersville?
Oof, magoof.
Yeah.
Someone made this.
Somebody made this.
I'm here for a Christmas cryptid movie. I'm here for Christmas Bigfoot. I feel like there is a version of this with a couple more passes at the script that would be Tropic Thunder levels of crazy, but also Tropic levels of fun. And the casting would be different. And not that any of these people are bad actors. They are just not the right fit for what we're trying to do. And like, it'd be a violent night is what it would be.
Yeah.
But it would be fun. And this is just oof magoof.
There are fun moments in this, but it's not, overall, it's not like a fun movie, really.
No.
But all those fun moments are Tom Lennon, like just hamming it up and having a great time with Ian McShane and Ron Perlman, who are also very funny and great, you know? But man, the script isn't great. It's just like, it's wild that it exists at all. And I sort of loved that about it. But I probably won't ever watch this again. I don't know that people should watch it unless it's for free. Honestly, if it's free because you already have Netflix or whatever it's streaming on, watch it. Outside of that, I wouldn't. But Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
I do. I do have some fun facts that will explain some of what happened here today.
Well, hit us with your fun facts.
Bigfoot fun facts. Now, Bigfoots are the genus. No, I'm kidding.
I would sit through a shitload of fun facts just about Bigfoot because I'm sure this movie's fun facts, they're probably fine.
Yeah.
You know, they're probably fine facts.
Yes.
You could tell me that some college was like, hey, Ron Perlman and Michael Shannon, we'll give you $1,000 to make any movie you want, but you have to use our students as the crew. And I would be like, oh, that makes sense because that's what this looks like.
That is exactly what happened.
What? No, that doesn't exist. Like that.
Yes.
That doesn't even exist. People do that?
Yes, all the time. I'll get to it in a second. Anyway.
No shit. Okay. Sorry.
So Ron Perlman's deputy is actually played by Blake Perlman, his real life daughter. So that's kind of fun.
Oh, that's great.
I think this was a fun father-daughter outing for them.
Aw.
Obviously, we have the Jaws scene with Quint. That was intentional.
Gotta be.
Now, the dialogue, I did mention that it's word for word of the Christian Bale meltdown on the set of Terminator Salvation. Hilarious.
That's amazing.
But let's get into it. So the film was partially financed by the SUNY Polytechnic Institute, which is
Wait, SUNY?
SUNY. It's a public university in New York State.
Yeah.
And they funded it through the film's tax credit. And the investment was part of the school's Central New York Film Hub, which was a $15 million studio that they had built near Syracuse to attract filmmakers to Central New York instead of just Manhattan.
They didn't spend all $15 million on this, did they? Like, they can't.
They did not.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I was like, did Ron Perlman destroy this school's like studio budget or whatever?
Well, so the school lost $750,000 of their investment on the film.
Oh, Jesus.
And eventually their studio, the Film Hub, was sold off for just $1 to offset the expenditures, not just of this film. There were other films too, but this one was a substantial expenditure. Most of the famous people in this did it either for free or for scale.
Yeah, okay.
As a favor to people working on it. Michael Shannon in particular only starred in the film as a favor to the writer and director with whom he was both friends with and also helped fund. Same with famed kidnapping victim and actress Patty Hearst, also has an executive producer credit. She's not in this movie, at least not that we see on screen for any long period of time. And she has been known to fund film projects that she likes out of her family's money, and has also been in a handful of John Waters films. But she just kind of picks ones that she thinks are fun and funds them, which I appreciate, frankly.
That's honestly so cool.
Yes, but this is the only film for which she has an executive producer credit. So there's that. It does win a Razzie for the second worst Australian accent. The first worst Australian accent is Bart versus Australia from 1995, one of the earliest Razzies ever given out.
Wow. Okay.
This is also the second time Hamilton, New York, which is where this is filmed, has hosted a major film production, and the town is adorable, so that makes sense. But the first time was Puddle Cruiser in 1996, which was one of the first shoots that the Broken Lizard troupe made before making Super Troopers in 2001.
Okay, awesome.
Yes. And then, of course, Christina Hendricks and Ron Perlman would go on, or I guess before this, had previously worked together in Drive.
Yes.
And those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. I would normally talk a little bit about box office, but I couldn't find anything on the box office for like the budget. It didn't really get a theatrical run and was on Netflix streaming for a while and is no longer there, and you have to rent it or buy it on like Amazon or Apple TV or whatever. So I don't have any information, unfortunately, so I apologize. But, Paige, do you want to hit us with that romance scale?
Sure. Our romance scale is a scale of 1 to 4 because Mikey said so. Todd, how romantic did you find this movie today?
This is not at all romantic. It's a 1 for me.
That makes sense. Same.
Yeah. So this week, Paige, you made us watch Pottersville. I am going to take over next week and make us watch what I hope you feel is a better movie, although I know you've never seen it. I actually sort of enjoy the movie, but I'm a little bit scared for your take. So I also do want to have a very special guest on that episode because it's one of my wife's favorite movies too. So we're going to have Natalie on. We're going to talk about Serendipity, a movie that I hope holds up because I still very much view this through a nostalgic lens. And I'm a little bit afraid to talk about it critically, honestly. But
namely because I have already been warned that I won't like it.
Right. And you've made that known to me. So like I'm very concerned. But it'll make for a fun episode, I think. Anyway, so your homework is to either revisit or watch for the first time Serendipity with John Cusack. Guys, it's charming. It's great.
I do love John Cusack.
Who doesn't love it? There's like a quirky instrument dude. It's fun. Anyway, guys, watch the movie and then report back for that episode next week.
And hey, do you have any reviews for us, Todd?
I do. So this week I'm going to read a Spotify comment from our most recent episode, and that episode was Hot Frosty. And I've got to read this one, although we got a lot of really funny comments on this episode. And this one, I got to read this one from Clarity. They say, asparagus. Todd, what? And I guess I must have said asparagus instead of asparagus.
You said asparagus multiple times.
I do apologize. I don't remember that at all. Let me read this Spotify comment from Laura. And they say, I've never seen Saltburn either, Todd, but I'd totally give the Craig Robinson musically narrated version a watch. So apparently I suggested that Craig Robinson should do the soundtrack to Saltburn.
You did.
And honestly, I hold to that. I think that is the only thing that will get me to enjoyingly watch that movie.
Makes sense.
But guys, if you want me to read your 5-star Apple review or Spotify comment, leave us one of those things and I'll do just that. So yeah, if you guys like this show and want to hear our other show where we talk about horror movies, that is The Horror Virgin. That's the only other podcast I am on, but Paige is also on Cult Podcast, which you can find at Cult Podcast. And you can find us on social media. I am at Todd J. Awesome, literally everywhere. Paige is at Paige Wesley on Instagram.
No, it's at Rampage Wesley on Instagram and TikTok, at Paige Wesley on Twitter.
That's right. All right. So that's where you can find Paige. If you want to find the show, we are at Romancing the Pod Show, right?
Yep, Romancing Pod Show on Twitter.
Well, and Instagram, right?
And Instagram, but it's show SHO because character limits. If you start typing Romancing the Pod, it'll come up.
It'll definitely come up on Instagram. I don't know about Twitter because I haven't posted on Twitter in a hot ass minute. So who knows? But that is where you can find more of us. So yeah, guys, give us a follow. Support the show any way you can. We'd love it.
Smash that like button.
Hell yeah.
All right. That's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
And I'm Todd.
You complete us.
Barefoot Pleation. Bye. Onlyfurs.com nerds.